Welcome to the Syria Virtual Tour 2020. My name is Janice Courtcamp. I'll be your hostess for the next couple of weeks on these posts that are to introduce people to Syria and what it's like traveling around there. I've been 7 times since May of 2016. I travel around on my own with Syrian friends as translators and guides. And I am a 100% non-affiliated, independent researcher, citizen journalist, tourist. You know, I don't really fit into any particular box. I usually travel around for about 3.5 weeks for each trip, and I've seen a great deal of the country and learned so much. And for each of those trips, for about 1 week to 10 days, I've also been organizing small tours of fellow truth seekers like myself so that other people could see Syria with their own eyes face to face. And so because of the COVID mess and all the stuff going on, I'm not able to go, I think, this year, and I'm missing it so much that I wanted to relive some of my adventures there. And I thought if I was going to go through this, maybe some other people would be interested in seeing some of this as well. So you're most welcome. And we're going to start with this short video. Well, actually, might be pretty long. I'm just kind of, trying this out. I don't really know what I'm doing. It's going to be a little disorganized, but thank you so much for joining me. Keep watching this video. Thanks. We're going to start at the border of the Syrian Arab Republic, their border with Lebanon. And what happens is you leave Beirut and you drive for a while. It takes, I can't remember exactly, it's about 1.5 hours, I guess, or less, to the border of Lebanon, where you do all your exit paperwork, and then you drive across a no man's land until you get to the immigration entry, the border of Syria. Now, here is always an adventure. There's always a wait. One time I was there 5-6 hours, and I'm always sweating it because I've got this group that's taken time off work and spent their hard-earned money and are so anxious and excited about going to Syria, but inevitably the paperwork's not there or can't be found. This is just because it's such an unusual occurrence to have tourists coming into the country during the war. I've never had any kind of anyone being rude or unprofessional or anything like that. Quite the opposite. Oftentimes while I'm waiting, they're giving me tea and coffee and sweets and things like that and apologizing for the holdup. But eventually you do get in and everybody gives a cheer of relief. Now, after all of your paperwork's in order, your passports are all stamped, the visa cost is paid, everything is ready to go, you get back in the bus and you go through several army checkpoints. Syria, again, has been at war for over 9 years, and they're very serious about their security. And the soldiers are checking the paperwork, making sure everything's copacetic. But always, for every time I've crossed that border, there have been soldiers that look at us in the cars or the buses and say, "You are most welcome in Syria." And we get a lot of smiles. Of course, we're all smiling. We're so happy. And I have to say that, I'm so thankful to have had many travels in this world in my life. It's always been one of my #1 priorities in life is to travel. I've had wonderful experiences everywhere I've gone. But there is no other place in this world that literally, once I cross that border, I feel like getting out of the vehicle and getting down on the ground and kissing that ground. There's something magical about Syria. I'm not the only one that feels like that. I've talked to many people who've gone, people that have been on the trips with me, and we all have this kind of love affair with this country that's, for many of us, has become our second home. So we're just so thrilled to be in the country, back in our second home, and welcome. The soldiers even have given us apples and other treats as welcomes, and it's so ironic that for all these terrible hard years of this war, and life is still very difficult there, and we'll go into that in future videos, that there's kind of a sigh of peace and joy in returning, and that is not to diminish anyone's hardship or suffering in any way. I think it just feels so much more deep, I guess, because of that in spite of all of these hardships and troubles and terrible despair often, the Syrian people still have received visitors with such gracious hospitality, warm welcome, and wonderful, unforgettable friendships. So now we'll be leaving the army checkpoints, heading on the road to Damascus. It's not that far. It takes about 45 minutes, I think. And you kind of go through some hills, into a beautiful valley, over some more hills, and finally you get to see this site that I'll be showing you in a minute from the bus, and Damascus is laid out before you. So there's a picture from the bus. The next picture showing all of Damascus is not from the bus. That's from the top of Cassian Mountain. That's the mountain that overlooks Damascus. But I wanted you to see the whole city. So now we've driven down the hills and kind of around the city, and we're entering into the old part of the city via the Bab Tuma gate, which is one of the gates in the old city walls. And the hotel is going to pick up our bags here. We're going to get off the bus here, and we're going to walk in through the streets and turn into the little alley to find our home away from home in Damascus, which is the glorious Beit al-Wali Hotel. There are many of these wonderful boutique hotels in the old city. Beit al-Wali is my favorite among favorites. It's a beautiful place. These are the old grand mansions of the Damascenes that have been renovated and become these beautiful hotels. The service there is extraordinary, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But, you're road weary, you're so happy to be there. Most people want to shower and to rest for a little while, and you go in through the doors and you're greeted by one of these wonderful professional staff, and the desk clerks and the manager, often the owner of the hotel himself, welcoming you to Damascus, welcoming you to Beit al-Wali, and they usually bring you these delicious fruit cocktails of orange juice and pomegranate juice and things like that. So refreshing. Everything just gets immediately taken care of for you. They know who's coming, they get your passports, they get your bags to your room, they show you your room. And it's just this beginning of this wonderful experience that we'll have in the old city of Damascus. So we've made it to Damascus. We're in our hotel. People are checking in with their loved ones, telling them they made it safe and sound to Syria, and they're resting and showering and maybe, just kind of getting used to being there. And we're going to get ready for the next video, which is seeing some of the nightlife in the old city. And this is, often just such a great highlight of being in Syria, is to wander around and visit the cafes, the bars, see the people talk to everyone and just kind of relax and enjoy. So that'll be the next video. I'll be working on that for the next couple hours. This is a little more time consuming than I thought it would be, but it's been just such an enjoyable thing going through these old photos and videos. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you'll join me for the next episode, which should come along later today. And for the next couple of weeks I'll be doing these, and we'll travel to many of the sites within Syria. Thanks so much for watching.